Hello everyone, my name is Ashish and welcome to the Xadmin channel. So guys, in this lecture we are going to see like what is a cache and how to implement the cache in your own application. And like normally the cache is like a recommendable feature for your application in which we need to implement to your application to reduce the database call from your application. So let's say guys, if you have like integrated the cache to your application, then it will provide a better performance. So there are the bunch of the cache techniques which are available, and the bunch of the techniques are like we have a generic cache technique, we have a JCache JSR 110, and we have a EHCache 2.x, and we have a Hazlecast, we have a InfineSpan, and we have a Couchbase, and we have a Redis, we have a Caffeine, we have a Simple. So guys, these are the some of the bunch of the cache techniques which you can use in your own application. All right, so guys, in this lecture I will show you how to implement the Hazlecast. And guys, I prefer to use the Hazlecast because the Hazlecast, we have a feature like every update in your database will reflect your cache also. All right, and guys, the Hazlecast is followed by the maximum industry application. So in this lecture I will show you how to implement the Hazlecast to your own application. So for that I will create a Spring Boot application, and this is our Spring Initializer. So let's create a Spring Boot application using Spring Initializer. So this is our like a Maven project 2.3.3 I'm using. Let's change the group name. Let's provide the artifact name as Hazlecast, and packaging as jar I will use, and Java 8. All right, so now let's add the dependencies. So first I will use Spring Wave, then dev tool, then I will add data JPA, Spring data JPA, then I will use a MySQL database, so I will add a MySQL driver here. All right, so these are the 4 dependencies I have added to my Spring Boot application. So let's generate it. So guys, it will be downloaded in a G format, so we need to extract it first. So let's go to the downloaded folder path, and here we need to extract it. Now let's go to our Eclipse, and we need to import this project. So let's provide the path from where we have extracted, select our project, open it, and then finish this. So guys, in this way we have successfully imported the Hazlecast project to my application. All right, and now guys I need to add some like the dependencies to my pom.xml. All right guys, so guys, here I will add the dependencies to my pom.xml. So let's say that I have added these guys, the 3 dependencies to my pom.xml to download the Hazlecast jar to my application. Like guys, this with the artifact like Spring Boot starter cache, and with the artifact Hazlecast, and also with the artifact name Hazlecast Spring. So these are the 3 dependencies I have added to my Spring Boot application in a pom.xml to download all the jars for my Hazlecast configuration. All right, so let's save this. And now guys, here I am using a MySQL database. So let me write the configuration of it, and here I will use a YML file. So let's create a file with the name application.yml to write the configuration for my database of MySQL. So go to the resource. Here let's create a file. Let's provide the application.yml. all right, and let's finish this. So guys, we have added a like application.yml, and now guys, inside this we need to add the configuration for my MySQL database. So guys, let me add the configuration and then I will explain you. Alright guys, I have added the configuration like a driver class name as com.mysql jdbc driver, and URL as jdbc mysql localhost, and the port number is 3306, and here my database name is userdb, and the username is root, and the password is for the MySQL database. Alright, and this is the JPA configuration, and the database is MySQL, and here this is the I1net configuration, and here the DDL auto is update, and here I am using the show SQL s2 to show all the SQL queries to my console. All right, so let me save this. Now guys, I will show you my the MySQL workbench, and guys, inside this, guys, you can see that this is my user DB. All right, so guys, inside this we have a table with the name user. All right, and we have this data inside this user table, and guys, it has the three columns like ID, address and name. All right, so guys, here I'm going to use this table to show you how to integrate the Hazlecast. All right, so so guys, here I will use this user table. All right, so let's go to our Eclipse, and now guys, I am going to create all the packages here. So for that, guys, inside my Java, let's copy these packages first. And now guys, inside the Java folder, I need to create a package. So let's create a package with the name, let's say, model. All right, and guys, inside this model package, I will add my model class. So let's add another package with the name DAO, and guys, inside this DAO package, I will add all my DAO classes. Let's add another package with the name service, and guys, inside this service package, I will add my service class. Let's add another package with the name controller, and guys, inside this controller package, I will add my controller class. So let's add another package, and guys, it is my config package, and inside this config package, I am going to add a class, and here guys, inside this class, I am going to add the configuration of my Hazlecast cache. All right, so guys, I have created these bunch of the packages. Now guys, let's start creating a classes. So guys, here first of all, I will create a model class, and here I will use a user entity class. All right, so let me create a user class inside my model package, and this is my entity class. All right, so guys, this is my entity class. So let's annotate this class with a entity. And now guys, the user class has a three field: ID, name and address. So let's define it. ID is of integer type, and the name is of string type, and the address is also of string type. And here I want that ID should be primary key, so let's annotate this with the @ID. And here I want that ID should be auto generated, so let's add a generated value annotation to my ID so that ID will be auto generated. All right, now guys, I am going to add like a default constructor, deselect all, generate. Now I will add a parametric constructor, now I will add a getter and the setter method for all the three fields like address. Hold a second guys, so this is name, there is a spelling mistake. All right, yeah, I think now it's fine. Now guys, let's create a getter and the setter method for my all fields. Address, name and ID. All right, so guys, I have created a getter and the setter method, and also I have created a constructor and a default constructor, and these are the three fields. And guys, the ID is primary key, and also it is auto generated. All right, and now guys, I want that this user class should be serialized, so let me implement the serializable here. So let's generate the serial version ID, save this. All right, so guys, I have created my user entity class here. And guys here, all right, and guys here it is going to create the table with the name user. And guys, all right, and guys, we already have the table with the name user, so guys, it is not going to create the table, it is going to use that table. All right, so now guys, I am going to create my repository class, and here I am using a Spring Data JPA. So let's create a user repository inside a DAO package class user repository. And guys, it is our interface, it is not a class. So let me change this. So we need to extend this interface with a JPA repository. And guys, in the generic we need to pass our user entity class, and also the data type of my primary key, it is of integer type. So we need to import this with the model correct package. So guys, I have created the user repository class, and it is extending JPA repository. It means that guys, we can call the JPA CRUD operations here, like a save method, we a delete method, delete the user from the database. We have a find all method inside our JPA repository, which we will use to get all the users from our database. All right, so guys, I have created my user repository class, and guys, it is extending the JPA repository, and here I am using a Spring Data JPA. Now let's create another class. So let's say that now guys, I will create another class inside my config package, and here guys, I will create a configuration class, and inside this class I will write my Hazlecast configuration method. So let me first create a class. Cache config is my class name. And guys, here guys, it is my all right, and here I am using a Java configuration. So for that, let's make this a configuration class by adding a configuration annotation. And here inside this class I will add one method, a configure method. And guys, inside this configure method I am going to add the logic to set the instance name for my the cache, and also the configuration for my Hazlecast cache. So for that, let's create a method first, and here the return type of the method will be like config. And guys, you can see that I'm importing this with a com.hazelcast config. So let's provide the name as a configure. All right, so let's mark this method with a bean annotation. And now guys, it should return a config object. All right, so let's create the config object first. So new config. All right, and after that guys, we are going to call the set the set instance name method to set the instance name. All right, so set instance name method. And guys, here guys, you can see that we have an argument with the instance name. So let's provide the instance name in a string format, Hazlecast, and then instance. All right, so this is my Hazlecast instance name, and guys, I have set this by calling a set instance name. After that guys, I need to set the name of my cache. So for that, what I will do, I will call add map config method, and guys, it has an argument with a map config. So we need to create the object of the map config with the help of the new keyword. All right, so map config, and then guys, I will call a method with the name set name to set the name of my cache. So here we need to pass the string, and here we need to provide the cache name like user cache. All right, and now guys, we need to call a method to set the maximum size of my config. So for that, we have a method as set max size config. So guys, in the last, you can see that we have a method with a set max size config, and guys it has an argument as a max size config, so it means that we need to create the object of a max size config. All right, so we need to create the object of the max size config. And guys here guys you can see that we are going to take the constructor of the max size configure, in which we have the two argument like the integer size and the max size policy. All right, so guys in the place of size I will pass 200 value, and guys in the max size policy here I will call the here I will take the actually the heap size. All right, so guys to take the heap size I have to call a max size config dot the max size policy, and guys we have a free heap size value. All right, so guys here I am taking the free heap size value. All right, and now guys after that I need to set the eviction policy. So for that I will call a set eviction policy, and guys we have an argument as a eviction policy, so we need to take the constant value of the eviction policy enum. So let's call the eviction policy enum. All right, so guys eviction policy is my enum, and guys we have the guys we have a bunch of the constant inside this enum. So guys we have like LFU, LRU, none, random. So guys here I will take LRU. All right, and then guys I need to set the time. So guys the live time second, so let's call a set time to live second, and here I will pass 2000 seconds. All right, so guys still here I have configured. Let me arrange that so that I can make you understand. All right, so guys here let me save it. So guys inside this method configure method I am creating the object of my config, and here I am calling a set instance name method to set the Hazlecast instance name, cache name, and after that I am setting the name of my cache by calling add map config, and inside this we are taking the object of the map config, and with that object we are calling a set name method to set the cache name. And then after that we are setting the max config size. For that I am calling a set max config size, and here we have to pass the max size config object, and guys here I am taking the constructor with the two argument, in which I am passing the size as 200, and guys the second I am taking the free heap size here. All right, and after that I am calling eviction policy. To set the eviction policy I am calling a set eviction policy method, and guys this is my enum, and guys this is my constant of the enum. So let's go inside enum eviction policy. Here you can see that guys we have a bunch of the constants like LRU is for list recently used, LFU for list frequently used, none, and randomly. All right, so here I am using LRU. All right, and then we are calling set time to leave second as 2000. All right, so this is the configuration you have to do for your Hazlecast. All right, and this is my configuration file for my Hazlecast. And now guys let's write a service class. So let's go to our service package. Inside my service package let's create one more class with the name user service. All right, let's finish this. So let's make this as a service class by annotating service as a annotation. All right, and now guys inside this service layer, so guys actually this is my service layer. So inside this we need to write a bunch of method like to get all user, to get user by ID, and also to delete user. All right, and guys this inside this method we are going to call the guys we are going to call the JPA repository methods. All right, so let me show you first by writing the method for get all user. So let's write a method public, and guys here the return type I will keep as a list and generic as a user. So get users, import to my util, and you have to import the user with the correct model package. All right, and now guys, all right, and guys, inside this method I will call our like a user repository class. All right, so for that I need to inject my user repository here. So let me inject first user repository, repository. All right, let me annotate this with a auto wire. Fine. Now guys, from inside this class I need to call. So now guys, let's say that in the first request it will directly hit the database as I mentioned. All right, after that in the second request, if I call a get user method, then guys it should take the data from the cache. All right, it should not hit the database. All right, it should only hit the database first time. After the first request, in the second request or the third request for the get user, it should not hit the database, it should take the value from the cache. So for that guys, I will write a system.out.println to show you that it is hitting only a first time to the database. So hit db first time inside get users method. So guys, I have written this information, and guys this information will be shown to my console as this method is invoked. All right, now guys we need to call. Now let's return and let's take the repository, return, and here repository dot find all method. All right, so guys we have a find all method inside our the like a JPA, inside our like like a JPA repository to get all the user object from the user table. All right, so guys I am using this find all method to get all the users object, and guys it will return in a form of list. Now guys, let me add or create another method like to get user according to the ID. So public user. All right, and now guys after that I will add the method of the like the name of the method as the get user, and here I will pass the ID. Okay, it is going to check this ID and it is going to return the object according to the ID. Get user, so repository dot, so we have a method like find by ID. All right, and here I will pass ID. So here it will not take the user. So let's change this to a return type as an optional user. All right, so guys it is going to return the object of the user as per the ID. And guys here also I want to show you that it is going to hit only the first time. After the second request it is going to take the ID from my database, like from the cache, not from the database. So hit db first time inside, this is get user, not get users. All right, this is method 2. Let's keep this as a method 2. Let's mark this as a method 1, no problem. All right, now guys let's create another method to delete the user from our database. So here I will return type as a string, method name as delete. Let's take argument as ID, and guys it is going to delete according to the ID. So repository dot, we have a delete method, delete by ID. All right, and here we are passing the id. So now guys we need to return something. So guys here I am going to pass some dummy string like user is deleted with id, and here I will write the id this. Alright, so guys it is going to delete the user from the database as per the id match. Alright, and guys and then guys it is going to return a dummy string like user is deleted with id this. So let me save this. It is showing some error. This is user repository. Yes, this is fine. We are extending this, no problem. This is a user service. Yeah, fine, let me save it. Okay, no problem. Method not defined in user repository. Okay, it is not taking as a user repository. I don't know why it should take it. Till now it was okay. Let me save all the file. Yeah, now it's vanished. Yeah, actually okay, actually it is taking now. Now guys I need to enable the cache. So let's go to the Spring Boot main class, and here guys inside this I need to write a annotation like to enable a caching. Alright, so guys it will enable the cache to my application. Alright, and now guys we need to add some like a method level annotation to my user service method. Like I need to add like the annotation like a cacheable to my get user method also. So let's add a cacheable, and here we need to pass some value in an argument as a cache names, and here let's provide the like the cache name. So let's go to the cache config, and guys here I have provided the user cache as a cache name. Copy it, and let's go to my service and paste it here. Alright, so guys here I have annotate this method with a cacheable annotation. It means that guys at the first time it will take from the DB, and after that guys it will store the list value to my cache. Alright, so let me mark this get user also with the annotation cacheable, and here we need to pass some value like value equals to user cache. Alright, and after that guys I need to assign the key also. So key equals to id, fine, and then unless here I need to define the result equals to null. Alright, so this is the value I have assigned to my cacheable annotation. Alright, as a user cache name and the key as id, and the unless the result is equals to null. Now guys in the same way I need to annotate this method delete method, and guys I want that if I delete the like any user from the database, then it should also reflect to my cache. So for that I will use here a cache evict. Alright, so cache evict will be the annotation, and here I need to pass the value for this. So value, and here user cache is my cache name. Alright, so guys I have added all the annotation to my methods of my service class. So guys I have completed my service class. I have like enable my cache in the main class, and also I have written my cache config. Now guys I need to write a REST controller for my endpoints. So let's create a REST controller to write my endpoints. user controller. So let's mark this annotation with the REST controller to make this controller as a REST controller, and here also I will make the request mapping and let provide a path here as a cache API. Alright, now guys, inside this method I am going to add the endpoints. So guys, the first endpoint I will add as a get all user to get all the user from the database. So public list. So let's do one thing guys, let's copy this because the implementation is almost same. I will change wherever it is required. Alright, let's go it here. Alright, so guys, here guys, alright, in the place of the return, remove this, yeah. Alright, and now guys, we need to call our like a service class from our controller. So for that we need to inject our user service here. So let me inject the user service here. Let mark this with the auto wired. Now guys, we need to call a service dot get users. Alright, so guys, it is going to call the get user method, and guys, it is going to return all the user from the database. So let me annotate this with the cat mapping, and here let me add the path as get all users. Alright, now let's add another method. So let's go to the service, let's copy this, and after that I will change wherever it's required. So now guys, I'm going to add the another endpoint in which guys I will take the user according to the ID. Alright, so here we need to call our service dot get user according to the ID, and here we are passing the ID. Alright, and guys, here we are so let me add a get mapping. First let's put the URL for get mapping by particular ID. So get user by ID. Alright, and now I need to define my ID also. Alright, so guys, it is going to take this ID. So for that I have to assign @ path variable, so that it is going to take this ID from my the URL request. Alright, it will take this ID, and then guys, it will store in this, and then it will call this get user method of my user service class, and guys, it is going to return that to the user object. Alright, till here I have completed. Now guys, let's add the endpoint to delete any user. So let me copy this from here, paste it here, and here guys, it is a service alright, so it is going to return service dot delete, and here we need to pass the ID, and we not need to require this. Alright, so guys, we have implemented our delete method also. Let's put the delete mapping here, delete mapping, and here let's put path URL like delete user. Alright, and here we need to take the ID also, because it is going to check the ID in the user table, and guys, according to that it is going to delete the user from the database. So here we need to add a path variable also, because it is going to take the ID from the URL. all right, and guys it is going to return a delete, all right, and guys it is going to call a delete method. All right, so guys I have added this endpoint to delete user, to get user by ID, and also to get all user. So these are the three endpoints I have added to my controller class. All right, I think guys I have implemented all the steps required for my cache technique. Now let's save all and let's run this as a Java application. Let's see that if everything is fine. So our server is starting, and guys our project is up, and guys it is started at port number 8080 Tomcat 80. Now guys let's go to my MySQL workbench and let's check that guys we already have a 2 data here. All right, now guys let's go to our postman, and here guys we need to fetch the data first. So guys to fetch the data we can see that let's go to our controller, and here guys let's check the endpoint. So guys we have a cache API and we have a get all user URL to fetch all the users. All right, so get all URL, and guys we have a get method. So let's hit a request. So guys you can see that we got the 2 object present in our database. All right, with the ID 8 and with the ID 9. Now let's check the Eclipse, and guys here inside the console you can see that we hit the database only first time inside the get user, and again guys we can see that this SQL query runs. Now guys let's hit another like the same request to see that whether it is hitting the database again or it is just taking the data from the cache now. All right, so for that let's go to the postman and let's hit it again. So guys as I hit, now let's check in the Eclipse. So guys in the console guys we can see that we have only one SOP. All right, it means that guys it is taking now the data from the cache. It is not hitting the database again. Only the first time it hits the database, now it is taking data from the cache. All right, now guys in the same way let's check the another method we have controller. Let's check the get user by ID. All right, let's go to our postman, and here let's paste the URL, and now guys I want to take a particular user object. Let's say that I want to take the user object with the ID 8. So let's add here 8. All right, now let's hit the request. So guys you can see that we got the output as a user object in a return. Now let's check the console, and guys here guys you can see that it hit the database again, because guys it is going to hit the database again because here as I have mentioned here guys it is going to hit it again. Now guys if I will hit this request again, so let's see that whether it is taking the data from the cache or again it is hitting the database. So for that let's hit this request again second time. All right, let's go to the Eclipse, and guys all right, and guys here guys you can see that it is not showing again the SOP. It means that again it is taking the data from the cache. All right, it is not hitting the database again and again. All right, let's say that if I again hit this request, the same request again and the multiple times, it is not going to hit the database. It will take the data from the cache itself. All right, so now guys we have another method. Let's say we have another method as a delete method. So controller, so now guys I want to delete this user. All right, so let's go postman, let's paste it here, and now guys I want to delete this 8 ID from here. All right, so guys in the same way guys it is going to delete the data from here, and guys it is also going to reflect to my cache also. All right, so let's hit it. So guys it can show that user deleted with the ID 8. It means that guys we are able to delete our data from the database. All right, and guys you can see that we run the query like delete from user ID. All right, and now guys it will reflect to the cache also. So guys in this lecture we have seen how to implement the Hazlecast to our Spring application, and guys we have seen how we can implement. Thank you guys and have a nice day, and see you in the next lecture.